Welcome to PR Powerhouse, helping female entrepreneurs to get in the press and to gain PR. I'm Jo Swan, and I'll be sharing how to harness the power of the media to boost your credibility and business visibility, no matter what stage in business you're at. Because I'm on a mission to show you that PR is not just for the big boys. In this show, you'll learn how to reach out to journalists and own your place in the press, because you are ready to become a PR powerhouse. Hello, and welcome to episode 3. Today, we are talking about how startups can get national press coverage for free. Now, you might have heard me talk before, perhaps, about the frustration of how people who are new to business often dismiss PR or think that PR is not for them, or feel like they have to wait years and years and years of being in business before they can get themselves in the media. This is an absolute myth, and it's something that I want to really help you kind of squash as a thought, as a limiting belief, because startups can absolutely get PR. And they can get national PR. So we're not just talking about a nice little article in your local newspaper. We're talking about national media recognition that you can use that will help build credibility and visibility of you and your business. So in this episode, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 ways that startups can get national press coverage for free. Okay, number 1, tell your story. Now, it's more than likely that you have got a story as to why you set up your business. It's more than likely that you are a passion and purpose-fueled entrepreneur who has created this business because you felt like there was a need for it, because you need to help people out there who have perhaps been in a situation that you've been in, or you feel like you need to make an impact with your skills and your knowledge in a way that you weren't able to do in the corporate world. So it makes sense that part of your marketing activity is actually to share that story with your audience. Now, telling your story is a fabulous way of getting free national press coverage, because there are a number of media outlets out there that are created entirely for sharing real life stories. And this is something that I think it's really important to consider. Now, some people do discount this as a route to PR because they think, oh, do you know what? I want my PR to be about my business and only about my business. I don't want to be telling people my story. I don't want to be sharing my story as my way to promote my business. I just want to talk about what I do and my services. Now, if you've listened to any of the earlier episodes, you will know that that is not going to get you very far in the world of PR, because what you need to do in PR is you need to storytell. So sharing your story, sharing your personal story, sharing your journey is a fabulous way of gaining yourself free press coverage. And it also works so powerfully in terms of helping you connect with your audience and helping you really engage in a very real life way with the people that you want to attract, the people that you want to work with. So from a UK point of view, there are loads and loads of different publications, including big hitters like the Metro, Yahoo, a lot of the daily newspapers. They all have sections for real life. This is a regular part of their sort of media fodder, their content that they are seeking out. This is an opportunity for you because it exists. It's literally there on a plate. They have got sections for real life stories. We also have whole magazines dedicated to real life stories. And we have women's magazines like Woman's Own, which are actually really well read publications that love to share inspiring stories of real people. So sharing your real story is something that is an absolute no-brainer if you have started your business because you have been driven by something that has happened to you in your past and you are now on a mission to help other people and to make some sort of change or some sort of impact. So when you're looking to do this, it's a case of really making sure that you're going to connect in a very real way to be a little bit vulnerable about sharing those elements of your story that could help inspire others. Now, as well as hunting out the direct publications that have these opportunities, of which there are many, there's also things like Facebook groups where journalists hang out to search for this information themselves. So they are often looking for case studies of people that they can include in their articles. And there's a fabulous group on Facebook called Feature Me. And this is run by one of our journalist friends who's a freelance journalist, a national freelance journalist. And she uses that as a place to reach out and tell people what she's looking for that week. So she might be looking for somebody who has been married for the second time. She might be looking for someone who was in debt and they managed to get themselves out of it. She might be looking for someone who found themselves selling their home because they were struggling and now they're living in their dream home. So she might be writing an article around that subject area and looking for case studies of people that can help illustrate that message. Now, the power of using your story in that way is, like I said, it brings out that human element of you. So I understand that can feel a bit scary, and I understand that can feel really vulnerable. And I also understand that that's a really unnatural thing to do, especially if you've just come from corporate. So if you've just come from the corporate world where you're told to really kind of put this mask on a lot of the time, aren't you? And to keep your personal life at home, to just turn up and be professional. The thought of actually sharing some of your sort of life moments feels like that would just be an insane thing to do. And people really struggle when they've come out of corporate, when they're really early on in their business, if that's the culture they're used to, in actually getting their head around sharing parts of their story. And I struggled with this too. So I totally get what this feels like. I totally get that it feels so unnatural. One of the biggest things that I really struggled with was putting any sort of personal content on LinkedIn. And that was a massive, massive thing for me of like, well, no, because that's where like all of my ex-colleagues are and like where my business world is, where my work world is. So me talking on there about how I'd suffered imposter syndrome and how, I had these issues with self-worth and all of this. Why would I do that to myself? But ultimately, the audience on LinkedIn could be your perfect clients just as much as your audience on Facebook could be. Just because it feels a little bit more familiar in that kind of more friendly sort of blogging type feel when you might share some of that information about your story on Facebook as part of your social posts, which I know so many of you do, often it can feel really alien to do it in another place, whether that is another platform or whether that is the media. And we're going to talk about that in some future episodes in terms of how you get around that fear of being visible and connecting to your story. But ultimately, telling your story is a fabulous way of how you can get national media as a startup, and how you use that then to promote your business is obviously you kind of bridge it. So you use your story as your leverage, and then you talk about the fact, and you now have this business that helps other people. So the bulk of the story isn't going to be about your business. The bulk of the piece is going to be about your story, but it gives you a chance to also mention and connect your business back to that story. Okay, so the number 2 way that you can get national press coverage for free as a startup is to share your knowledge. Now, often people say to me at this point, well, if I'm a startup, how can I share my knowledge? Because I've been in business for like 2 seconds. But what you have to realize is you are not a startup in life. Like, you have got so much experience to share. You have got so much experience from your corporate life. You have got so much experience from your life in general. You have got knowledge to share, even if you have just started your business. One of the things that I talk about in earlier episodes is the reason that I love PR so much is because it's a leveler. PR can level the playing field for anybody. So even if you're a startup, you can still present yourself alongside your mentors. You can present yourself alongside your peers who have been doing this for years and years longer than you have, because PR is a leveler. So you can get PR coverage just as easy as they can if you know how to play the game. Now, sharing your knowledge is a fabulous way of elevating yourself in the eyes of your audience and tapping into opportunities where the media need content. So just like there's a number of media out there that are ready and primed to accept your real life stories, there's a number of media that are ready and primed to accept your knowledge-based pieces, your thought leadership pieces, your tips and advice articles. And it is literally the case of finding those opportunities. So you need to do some research. You do need to do a little bit of groundwork, a little bit of background work here to see where those opportunities lie. But there's a number of business publications that have regular columns, regular articles, regular sections of their website where they accept guest writers, where they accept contributors. So that's something to really think about. As a startup, you can elevate your position in your space super quickly by writing some guest articles. Okay. If you feel it's a bit scary to approach the media at this point in your business, there's an even easier way to do it. So there are some publications, online publications, where you don't even need to speak to a journalist. So I know some of the things that often puts people off is the fear of the journalist, the fear of the media, the fear of talking to an editor, or that kind of whole, I don't know, you build it up to be something much bigger than it actually is. But if you could submit your content online and you don't even have to speak to anybody, then that's taking that barrier away and that's taking that fear away. So that's another way that you can share your knowledge and you can get national media for free as a startup. You can find some sites where you can contribute online. Now, often how these work is you become a contributor. So you become like an accepted blogger of that site, and then you are able to share your content on a regular basis. There's a number of these sites. A few of them include Thrive Global, which is a fabulous international site set up by Ariana Huffington from Huffington Post, a really, really credible website. Gorgeous, gorgeous content that's a massive mixture of well-being and business. There's definitely an opportunity for you. Whatever you do, whatever your industry is, whatever your specialism is, I challenge you to not be able to write something for Thrive Global. There's absolutely a place for you on there. The other couple that are worth looking at are Medium and Authority. And again, they're global sites that really desire and seek out guest expert content. And their reach is massive, the credibility is massive, and getting regular slots on there also really works for your social footprint, for your digital footprint of building that online profile. So you can get national press coverage without even speaking to a journalist. Okay, so the third way that I'm going to talk to you about how you can get national press coverage for free as a startup is about being reactive. Being reactive to the media's needs is a surefire way of getting press coverage because you are helping them out, you are giving them what they need, and you are responding to a very live opportunity. So you're not pitching something with the hope that it's going to fit with what they want, or with the hope that they might sort of think, oh, that'll be something useful that I can use. You are actually giving them something that they have asked for. So the best way to go about being reactive to the press is to find opportunities where the journalists are asking directly for certain content. So they might be asking for tips, they might be asking for a case study, they might be asking for an expert to quote, they might be asking for some examples to back up an article that they're writing. There's loads and loads of different things that they might need. Now, if you put yourself in a position where you can respond quickly and responsively to these requests, then you are in a great position, no matter how long you've been in business, if you can provide the right content. Again, PR is a leveler. You don't have to have been in business for years to be able to do this stuff. So, how do you find this? Well, the best place to search out these opportunities is on Twitter. Twitter is where journalists hang out the most. Twitter is where they like to hang out because it's a very fast medium. It's a place where you can't waffle to them. They can't get stuck in conversation. You have to get to the point because obviously you've got such a character limit on how you can respond. So they put call outs on Twitter, and most of them use a hashtag called journo request. Now, if you've not come across this before, search that in Twitter and see what comes up. It will blow your mind because on there are journalists from all over the world asking for direct content that you quite possibly could supply. It's literally PR on a plate. The tricky thing about it is that it's vast and that it covers every subject area under the sun. And you might lose the will to live after a little while because you might think, oh my God, I've trawled like loads of these and none of them are relevant to me. That is one of the things that is hard about using a very open platform like Twitter to actually source those opportunities. We source those opportunities for our clients on behalf of our clients and obviously filter them. We also do that in our membership where we filter it by subject area. But if you're just starting out and you just want to see what's out there, then it's definitely worth exploring journal requests and seeing what's out there. You can search by subject. So you could search hashtag journal request and then put your subject area in, and that should help to refine the results. The other thing that you could do is use that as a place to research the right media that actually are writing about your subject area. So you could start to build a list of journalists to follow. And that's something that I really recommend that you do on Twitter. Build a list of journalists who are regularly writing about your subject area and put them into an organized list so that when you come to Twitter, you can just open up that list and you just see the feeds from those people. And that makes it really quick, really easy to quickly reply to them, quickly respond to them, quickly share some of their content. Make sure that you're doing this on a regular basis and you're being a part of their world. And that's how you're going to start to build relationships as well. So being reactive is a great way to get yourself in the press, get yourself national coverage, and often it's super fast as well. So you do have to reply quickly, but that sometimes means that you can be in the media the next day, which is pretty exciting. Like, how would you feel as a startup seeing yourself in national media within 24 hours of actually reaching out to a journalist? That would be pretty epic, wouldn't it? That would make you feel the power of PR. So my closing message for you on this episode of this podcast is that startups can do PR. And I've just given you 3 different ways that you could absolutely get started. So this can be there for you. This is completely at your fingertips. And I really hope that you're starting to feel like this is becoming just that little bit more doable with every episode that you listen to. Have a think about which one of those 3 routes might be the best way for you to start. Is it telling your story? Is it sharing your knowledge? Or is it actually exploring what reactive opportunities are out there? Choose one of those things and make a commitment to do it. Thank you for listening to PR Powerhouse with me, Jo Swan. If you want to feel empowered and supported and excited about getting in the press, come and join us in our free community over on Facebook at PR You Can Do It. I would absolutely love to see you there so I can help you take those next steps to getting in the media.